it says, for they, being ignorant of God's righteousness. Whose justice? They miss it. And people then ask, why are there problems in nations? They wonder, and why did that earthquake happen? My God, where were you? Lord, may I ask where you were when the airplane crashed? Where were you when the deluge arrived? God says, me? I'm in the same place. I'm upset because you ignore what I've done for you. This is why governments keep fighting and fighting and fighting. They are fighting. They will keep fighting. Can't you see that God is upset? He is annoyed. They have ignored His justice. Just imagine He passed away wealthy so that He could enrich everyone. We would all be wealthy. And so there are so many poor people because they ignore God's justice. God's justice, you cannot ignore it. Ignore other things, but not God's justice. You have weaknesses. God deals with your weaknesses. He deals with those weaknesses, but don't ignore Him, because you will suffer for it. Verse 3 says, for they, being ignorant of God's righteousness and seeking to establish their own righteousness, have not submitted to the righteousness of God. Because the end of the law is who? You know what they say? That law. What do they say? They are the ceremonial ones. But the 10 Commandments and the rest, no. When it says the end of the law is the law, it says, I do not desire that you should be ignorant of this mystery, lest you should be wise in your own opinion. If you ignore it, it gives you arrogance. It gives you arrogance, and you're going to talk bad about them. And you can't talk bad about them either. This is a talk that has many details, and you have to be attentive, because at the moment they are enemies. Yes, they are my enemies, but you have to understand that they are enemies. Because of the input from us, we are causing them to be jealous. But we love them. Do we love them or not? Because they will enter. Not all, just the chosen. It says, the verse says, lest you should be wise in your own opinion. That blindness in part has happened to Israel. Who is the one who hardens? It is God Himself. Look, what a problem. A hardening, not permanently, just partially. Now why? Until the fullness comes in. Whose fullness? And what happens in verse 26? And so all Israel will be saved. What will all Israel be? Saved. God's Israel. Pastor, but if it's been over 2,000 years, why didn't they just come in? Because the Growing in Grace ministry had not arrived. Until this ministry arrived, there was no one to explain it. No one has ever spoken this way in history. This has never been said on earth, much less explained like this. This has never been said. I say this to you, blessed one. I was flying at 39,000 feet in an airplane when the Lord revealed this to me. Hey, but all of Israel will be saved, but first, hey, who comes first? Who is first? First, it's us. Pastor, do we really need to make them jealous? They get jealous when I speak like this.